Okay, Jina. Looks like my audio is going up and down, so that's good this time. Okay. I did a very long one last time, and I don't have it in me. So, and I think I went off the rails a little bit. I would normally use Affinity Designer for something like this, possibly Inkscape. Another video for another day. Great software. I'm going to show you how to do this in Photopea, which is an online version of Photoshop, sort of a Photoshop Lite, if you want to say that. So I'm going to go to photopea.com. I'm going to go new project. I use letter size paper, so I'm going to go to print here and choose letter and hit create, and I'll get my letter size here. A couple things you want to do to start. This is the move tool. Go over here and hit transform controls so that that is activated. Check mark. Boom. Go to view and click on rulers so that you can see your rulers. You're going to right click where those two rulers meet up here in the corner on the top left of the screen and change to inches. It'll probably be at pixels by default. So with that out of the way, take a ruler and measure your case. I have I tend to scan things in like this. This is my phone case template, and I trace this out in software and make it true to size. We don't need to worry about all that. It's a little bit of overkill. So let's just say that this is 6 inches by 3 inches. It's not, but 6 inches by whatever it is, 2.5 or something. I'm just going to say 6 by 3 for the purposes of this. This is an iPhone 15 Pro Max, but whatever you've got. You can look up the dimensions online, but it's just as easy to take a ruler, and you can measure this cutout if you'd like. That'll sort of come into play. I'm going to go ahead and say that's 1.5 inches by 1.5. Probably not that, but just do your measurements if you like. So back in Photopea, we'll go down the toolbar down to the rectangle tool, which is here. When I click that, some little options are going to show up here. The shape is going to be a rectangle. The fill is going to be black. Don't really care about that. The stroke is the outline. Don't care about that right now. Corner radius doesn't really matter. I'm just going to make a square. So boom, we have a rectangle. It's not the size we want, I'm sure. So what we're going to do, we have the move tool, and you can move this thing around and scale it and stuff, and it sort of gives you you see the size there, but that's not very accurate. So what we're going to do is go over here by the layers panel. This is our layers panel. Shows us that we have a background. We can turn on and off. See the white disappear. That's how you make a PNG, sort of. No background. And then we have our shape here. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is go to this properties over here by the layers panel and click that. And here's our width and here's our height. Now, in order to change these separately from each other, because right now if I change one to, say, if I change this to 3 inches, the other one's going to shrink. And then they're like, oh, if I go to change this one to 6, it's going to change the other one too. So I don't want that one. I'm going to uncheck the aspect ratio. So I've got my height as 6, and now I can change my width to 3. So here's my shape, okay? Basically. Now what I can do, so this is a vector shape right now. I'm gonna turn it into a raster shape. No, I'm not gonna do that. Don't worry about it. This is what we're gonna do instead. We're just gonna make a little cheat here. I'm gonna go back over to the rectangle panel, and I'm gonna draw out another rectangle, and this time up here I'm gonna change it to red. Okay, just for the purpose of this, and I'm going to change the width to 1.5 inches because that's what we said our camera cutout was going to be, and 1.5 inches. Okay, and the that picture I had over there before was reversed because I couldn't see it on my scanner on the white side, the Sublimate side. So I'm going to put it here. So this is what the back of an iPhone looks like. Your camera's on the left, and so that's pretty much where your cutout's going to be. So yeah, I made this one. I like it. It's going to be like, ooh, freaky. I make a bunch of these after fun. But anyway, so that's, I'm going to hold down the Alt key and roll my mouse to zoom in so I can see that that's sort of tucked into the right place. If you don't have a mouse wheel, you can hold down Control and use the plus and minus on your keyboard, or you can go down on the toolbar and click this little magnifying glass. And the tools again show up at the top for this tool, the sub tools, I guess. And this is the minus, zoom out. This is the plus to zoom in. You just left click to the, anyway, so fit to area, goes back out. But anyways, for now, I'm going to stay on the move tool. Now, I don't want to move these around too much, so what I'm going to do is on this layer, I've got the red one selected. I'm going to hit this little padlock. And the same thing with the black one. I'm going to hit the padlock just so that I don't accidentally scale these and it'll tell you that it's locked. So now, what I want to do is I want to get my picture. Now, if you have a picture on your computer already, you're going to go to File and hit Open in Place and go wherever it is that you keep your photographs and that kind of thing. Let's see, I've got this devil girl, and there she is. And so now I've got her. I can't really see what's going on here. I could lower the opacity with the number keys. I hit 7 to go 70%. I can hit 3 and go down, but I'm going to go back to 0. Full opacity. What I'm going to do is I want to make sure that that devil girl that just came in here in my layers panel is just above my black shape, that shape down there. Okay, so it's below right now that red box we made for the cutout, and you can see that up here on the layers panel. And then we've got Devil Girl, and then I've got this black shape. So what I'm going to do with Devil Girl selected and this just below it, I'm going to right click on her and hit Clipping Mask. And now she is attached to the inside of that case. And now I can move it around, and whatever, that's the only thing that's going to show, the only thing that's going to print. So that actually looks pretty good right there. I can be done with it. I can scale her a little bit and frame her out a little bit better. Like I don't see the cat, and so I can keep going out. Sometimes you're going to end up going too far. And now with a case of like something like this, I could go over here and turn this shape to I'll go back to my square tool and change it to green just so we can tell the difference between those two. Now with pictures that are like a photograph, you can actually go into Photoshop and use AI to fill in those areas. But on a picture like this, where it's just this red, I could literally take this black shape here, and I want to say, I want to turn the color. And what I can do is go out here and click on that red. I can't do that. I want to go out and click on this color and pick that red. And so now it's the same color. All I did there was I turned that black shape that we made into that color red. And how I did that was I had that layer selected, that red rectangle. I went over to the rectangle tool. I went up to the fill color, and then instead of picking one of the things out of the palette, I clicked this, and so this is where you select all your colors. But what I did is I went out, I could pick this green if I wanted to and hit OK, and it would change it to that green, but I want to use this red, so I went out and I picked this red with the crosshairs just by left clicking on it. And then when I hit OK, it turned it into, so now if our camera cutout is gone, it's like seamless. And so that's what you're going to print. And that's what you would, so we like the way it looks. If you wanted to add some text or something, you could go to the text tool, and just above that layer, this is a little small, so again we have text here. This is going to be our font. We can just pick a font that we want. You can add your local fonts by clicking the fonts that you've got on your computer. It'll ask you, is it okay to access them? Yes, this is a very trusted site. So, and you could go, I would start with a bigger font. It only let you go up to 150, but you could type in bigger, 200, maybe something like that. And then just click and give it a second to load. And once you see this text layer show up and the font has been loaded, I can just say, you devil. And then I can move that down here. Oops. So that's been pasted all that. I'm gonna have to go and release that. Devil Girl, move it up above there. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could go back to text and change that color to white, say, just to have it stand out. And go back to the move tool, and we can shrink it down or something like that. And then, you know, just put it where we want it to or something like that. You know, you see what I'm saying. You don't have to put any text on here. I'm just showing you how to do it if you wanted to do something like that. So now I can turn off this shape because we don't want to print that. And now, if my printer, I have Sawgrass, and right when I go to print, it just, I'm just going to unlock this and just delete it. It mirrors for me, but if you don't have, if it doesn't mirror, what you're going to do is click on this top layer and then left click as you click on the last layer. You can group these together by hitting this folder if you want to. That's probably a good idea. And then what you can do is, with that selected, I've got a locked layer in there. Let me unlock that shape. And so we got this folder selected. What I can do is I can move this up here. Say you wanted to make another phone case to go on the same sheet of paper, or you want to copy this on whatever. You go to that folder, right click it, and hit duplicate layer, and then I can just drag it over here. Now if I wanted to make a different picture, I've got this copy, and I could just go to this girl and delete her. I've still got my shape, and I can get rid of my text if I wanted to. And now, say you, this time I'm going to copy and paste. Instead of going to File, Open in Place, and picking a file, I'm going to go to just another website, and I'm going to say maybe Pexels. I'll look for HD wallpapers or something like that, and just find something that's sort of vertical that'll go. Yeah, this is okay. This is cute. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'll go back to photopea, and I can go Edit, Paste. And that's pretty small, but what I can do is just sort of make it a little bigger. And I'm going to do the same thing. I've got this above that, my shape layer, this one over here. And I'm going to right click it and say clipping mask, and boom, Bob's your uncle. And just remember, you've got our cutout over here. It's just taking up a lot of that space. So now with all this said and done, I probably should have told you this at the beginning, but I don't like to work with just, if it's 6 inches by 3 inches, I don't like to work with that perfect of a shape, because if you are off even a little bit with your blank on your paper, you're going to end up with white edge somewhere. So what I do is I add a little bit of edge around, and just keep your details and stuff away from the edges. But what I'll do is I'll select that shape, and I'll say, I'll keep my aspect ratio clicked so it does it all the way around, and just give it anything, like a 3.1, something like that, and then the whole thing gets bigger. And if you don't like the way your mountain is set up, like I said, you could have done this at the beginning, just add it. You know, when you said it was 6 inches, just add a little bit to it, whatever, and then go back and just check that, you know, that's 6.1 by 3.1 by 6.2, that kind of thing. Do the same thing over here, or like I said, just be smart, and when you measured 6 inches, just go ahead and add a little bit, and then continue with the rest of these steps. But anyways, I'm gonna do the same thing with this other folder. I'll go to the shape, and I'll make it 3.1 like that. And then so now obviously my picture's got to come down a little bit, because if I do nail it, then I don't want anything to get cut off, that kind of thing. So, you know, just sort of frame it out like that, and that way you just don't have to worry about being so perfect. And then what I'll do is I'll measure, and if I have equal sort of spacing all the way around, that way I know I'm centered, you know what I mean? And you can still do the center of this thing, like when I did this logo, this Apple logo, I still did the center of this shape. And you do that by this, you know, this dot right here is really the center of the shape. You can make other shapes, like say this, it's not editable. You can go and make another shape like this. And when you go and select two shapes together, like this, you can go to align right here, center horizontally and then center vertically, and that'll put that right in the dead center. So that's how you center things. And so you can still center it and hope that you know, as long as you get your blank centered on that page somewhere, no matter where it's that's going to still be the center. So anyways, I'm just going to go Control Z and go back. So now we've got the two of these. My printer, again, like I said, it mirrors for me at the last second, but if yours does not, what I'm going to do is I'll select either this group, this folder, or you can go in and select all three of the elements inside of there, your text, your picture, and your shape. And then you're going to go up to Edit, Transform, Flip horizontally, and then just make sure it's somewhere on the printable page. Now this one, I'm not going to select all the, I'm just going to click Folder, and then I'm just going to go, because it's the same thing as selecting everything inside of it. I'm just going to go to Edit, Transform, and Flip horizontally. Do the same thing, okay? And so now you can either export this by going to File, Export As, and you can save it as a PNG or a JPEG or something. It does. I mean, there's a lot of talk about SVGs. You don't need an SVG for this unless you're doing vector files, and this is not a vector file. It's a photograph. It's a raster. So JVG, an SVG, the only thing is that it'll keep your layers. So these two will be on separate layers. That's really the only advantage. Same thing with a PDF. It'll keep layers, but PNG is good because you won't have a background. When you do like this, later on, if you go to edit this, there'll be nothing behind it. If you do a JPEG, it'll automatically default to a white background, which you don't want. So you can export it as a PNG, or you can just print straight from here, because when you go to print, it's going to pop up here, and this you can save to a PDF, much the same as some other things do. But when you just go to print, it's going to open up in this, and it's not going to, hang on a second, it's being stupid. Inches, 8.5 by 11, rasterize all. Okay, you're going to need to rasterize all there, because I didn't rasterize those shapes. Alternatively, like I said earlier, I was going to rasterize something just so I could cut out a picture, the area for the camera, but I didn't. So now if I go in here and you can just rasterize these, but there's no need to do that. Just go to File, and if you've got those shapes in here, just go ahead and print, and just click that rasterize. And you can vectorize text if you want to. That's just for exporting, really, to a PDF, because if somebody doesn't have that font, it won't show up on their computer. It'll default to some crappy font. That's only if you're sharing a file, but it doesn't hurt to do either one of those. Just click both of them, it's fine. And so we know that our paper is 8.5 by 11. Now I click this next print box here, and that'll open up your normal default thing. So I'll go here to my Sawgrass print manager. Obviously I'll set the color, and then I'll hit print. It'll open up that dialog. However you normally print, this just follow the same steps, because once you get past this dialog here and hit this, now you're just regular printing. So this is everything that you normally do. So just make sure that anything that you've done, if you want to do doing your print dialog, if that's what you normally do, then do that. This is the Google Chrome one, that kind of stuff. So you'll know what to do once you get to this point. So that's Photopea, the version. Inkscape is a good one. Affinity Designer is the best one, if you ask me. Adobe Illustrator is another option. There's Corel Draw. There's all kinds of software out there. So I can't really make that decision for you. If you're going to keep on this path, I don't recommend sticking with Photopea forever, because it requires the internet. It can get kind of like bogged down if you start putting a lot of stuff on the screen, and it's a pain in the butt. You can save stuff here. You can save as a PDF and save it to your computer and open it back up later and continue your edits, that kind of stuff. Or save this one as once you do it once, then you've got sort of a template. You'd save it as a template, and then that way all you have to do is come in here and delete, the mountain, and just add another one onto that, and this could just be your your case thing forever. And if you open it up and then save them, change the size for another model of phone, then you can just go save as and make for the iPhone 14 Pro or whatever, and just keep these on file. And it's not like I said, this isn't a bad thing. It's just it relies on a website that I assume will be around. It's been around for a long time, but I don't know that it will be. But there's free trials. I think Photoshop only does a week. Affinity, Designer, and the Photo Combo, you get a month of that. And I did the month, and I fell in love, and I'll never go back. So, but I still do dip into Inkscape to trace things, because that's invaluable for Cricut people, especially to turn things into vectors, and to do some really neat shapes and that kind of stuff, which I still need to do for Sublimation from time to time. But anyways, this should get you rolling, I think, and hopefully it helps you, and you have a good night. Arizona, I think I saw. So beautiful out there. A lot of friends, Air Force buddies. Anyways, take care.